welcome to eSpeakers TV. I'm Gina Carr, the producer of eSpeakers TV, and I'm delighted that you could join us today. We're going to have a lot of fun and learn a lot, and with that, we'll get started. Let me introduce you to your host today. He is a member of the National Speakers Association Hall of Fame, the former chief enterprise blogger for Skype, and the former AT&T editor-in-chief of their award-winning business blog. With that, Terry, welcome.
Well, thank you very much, and welcome to all of you that are here joining us on eSpeaker TV. We're going to be talking about how you can use a lot of different technologies that are available, including eSpeakers, as well as looking at what is happening in the industry right now. And today, I am excited. Our guest today is a person who knows not just the speaking side, but also from a meeting planner point of view and from a bureau point of view. And she's joining us now from her office out there in Dallas, Texas. I got a lot of Texas all around that. Krista Haverstock. Krista, good to have you with us today.
Thanks for having me. It's fun to be here.
And for those of you that don't know Krista, you want to find out. Yeah, I got my introduction right here. This lady is incredible. Since 1997, Krista Haverstock has blurred the line between talent and agent by living large on both sides of it at the same time. On the agent side of the line, she manages, consults, and represents a cadre of world-class Hall of Fame corporate talent at SEE Agency. That's spelled S-E-E, the industry's fastest-growing speaker management outfit. And get this, on the talent side, she is an accomplished recording artist, having written, performed, and produced award-winning songs, which received radio play in the U.S., Canada, and West Africa also. She is also a successful improviser and actor, co-founding, get this, Dallas's premier all-female improv comedy troupe called Heroin Addiction. She knows the speaking profession, having been on both sides, and she serves her delighted clients worldwide. She's also a marvelous writer, at least to this jaded journalist. And you know, as a jaded journalist, we're real picky on who we call a marvelous writer, and she is one. And she is a person you want to get to know. She's originally from that wonderful town in Canada called Edmonton, Alberta. I think they invented cold up there, didn't they?
They sure did.
I think that's where cold was invented. She now resides in Dallas, Texas with one amazing husband, two perfect children, and a collection of sometimes brutal yet always entertaining careers. Krista, that is an amazing assignment, array of talent that you have there. Tell us a little bit about what you've done on the agency side, as well as the talent side, as well as what you see with meeting planners.
Well, as far as the agency side, so I spent 10 years inside the walls of a speakers bureau, which is one big part of the industry that I obviously know and love. And speakers bureaus, you know, broker talent, speakers and entertainment into corporate events and association events, education, all those. And so I did that. I was on that side of the brokering the talent in the industry. And then about 9 years ago, I flipped to what I call the other side of the industry, which is representation. So I went into a specialization with a group of speakers and started an actual agency, SEE Agency, where I don't book outside my roster, and I represent a handful of speakers for all of their events. And there are some entertainers, so I like to say talent, but for the most part, I'm working with corporate keynote speakers and really acting as their agent and representative to meeting planners. And you know, and I feel very fortunate that I can see that I'm able to connect with my speakers and my talent on a personal level, not just, you know, relationally, but also because I have done so much performing. I kind of know what it's like to be on the stage and what it's like to have a performer's temperament and mentality and those things, and to see things from their angles. So I feel like I've got a really good kind of seat amongst all of these different perspectives.
Excellent. Well, I know you've got a lot of perspective on what's happening. So I want to ask you, as we see the speaking industry, the meetings industry changing very, very fast, we hear a lot of different people saying, oh, we see this happening or this. If we look at the big picture, say the 35,000 feet point of view, how do you see the speaking in the meetings industry different today than it was, say, 5 to 10 years ago?
I think in subtle ways, not big shifts necessarily. And this answer is going to be different. Pretty much doesn't matter who you talk to. Like, it's going to be a different answer. I know I have someone in mind right now that would say, oh, it's all about content. You know, if you don't have content, then you've got no business being in the speaking industry and your business is going to dry up. And I think that's always been true and always will be true. I think there's different focuses at different time on content. I personally, I mean, I can only, of course, speak from my chair and my perspective, but I personally love the story. Like when it's couched in a story, like someone who has done something amazing and fantastic, and then they bring lessons to the table because of that. That to me really appeals to me. Someone who just comes with content is fine, and they'll always get bookings. But for me and for my speakers, it's so much about the story. And I continue to see their business grow without exception. Each one of my speakers' businesses has grown over the last 5 years. It's gone up. Either, you know, in the amount of money they get for each engagement or in the number of engagements. Or both. Mm-hmm. Actually both. Normally both. So I don't know how to answer that. How things are shifting, I need to address that, I suppose, because that was your original question. One small thing, I will say almost without exception, meeting planners want a pre-event video. And so my speakers that are booked for events, they have to, that, you know, back in the day, it's kind of like, meeting planners would want a conference call and it was kind of an extra thing. Now it's expected. I think the pre-event video is becoming much more expected. And so if speakers, for all the speakers who are listening, I think probably the good money and the good investment would be to get good video equipment. You know, set yourself apart. You know, one of those bloggers lights that like shines. I don't know if you've seen those. I don't know what they're called. But I have seen them.
Yes, the little lights they've got in different places, and often you can use a variety of lights. Even a halogen light sometimes can really work well, but lighting is critical. And you're seeing that from a meeting point of view.
And it's going to happen with every booking. So if you want to do 50, 60, 70, 80 events a year, you got to block out time for not just the conference call, but also the pre-event video now. So that is something that I would say is important. And I'm getting real specific, real granular on this, but I think I'm seeing more speakers, and we did it a long time ago. So I guess I'm bragging. I think I was just bragging. But to do a flat fee for travel. And I just don't think charging for expenses after and keeping receipts is a good use of anybody's time. So we need to flat travel. Those are just two, very specific random things that just pulled out of my head.
Yeah, but that's very helpful. It's something that I found, as a speaker myself, it was very easy and better for everyone. For me, for the client, everyone just say, look, I'm going to get from this point to that point, it'll be X dollars for travel. Whether you use the same thing, or for me, it's like I live in Orlando. So if it's an Orlando program, usually I just cover everything. If I'm going to Miami, okay, there's a little bit of cost, a 4-hour drive or something like that. Sure. But it'd be different than if I fly, say, to Seattle or to London. And so we just usually say, okay, I know I'm going to figure out anyway, it's going to be X dollars. And X dollars covers everything. Food, travel, tips, all that kind of stuff. And you're seeing that happen more and more in the industry now?
Yeah, not covering the hotel, because they just get, the meeting planners will get a room block. So you just ask, I would just ask for up to 2 nights hotel. And I did think of one other thing. Boy, these are just all over the place. But let me just toss it in here since it might be of interest. Yeah. The meeting planners are relying on word of mouth for their speaker ideas more than ever. So either they've seen the speaker or they've heard from another meeting planner, another meeting professional that the speaker is good. So while search engine optimization is always going to be important, it's not like it was 10 years ago. You could own motivational speaker in a search engine and scoop up a bunch of stuff. It's still important, but it's the buzz and the word of mouth that's really important. And the first place that planners are going to look, they are actually searching speakers a lot of times on YouTube. So as a speaker, this actually circles right back around to the first thing. If they're going to have content out there, it's got to be first rate, or else the meeting planner may not even get to their website. They may never, we as agents and speakers have much less opportunity to sell themselves on the phone, because there's so much selling that goes on even before the meeting professional gets to the speaker. So it's critical that their digital footprint and digital brand is beating everyone else.
I like that. That's tweetable. Yeah, their digital footprint, digital brand must beat everyone else. And that's true. And YouTube is critical. Video, once again, you mentioned the importance of the pre-meeting video. YouTube, I'm seeing that from me and from many others too. They go out and they're searching you on that world's second largest search engine, YouTube, find out what you're doing.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it sounds like those are tools that are very important. And there are other tools that are available as well. When you see some tools being used, what do you see speakers using now more than others, or you see it quite a bit? If you think of technology tools, what comes to mind for you?
Depends what part of the process we're talking about. The first one that jumped to mind was TripIt and TripIt Pro. I have a couple of speakers who are using that for their travel and just love it. And it pays for itself because it'll actually alert you when it's time, like when your plane ticket might have gone down in price, and it will tell you to get the money back from United or whoever. So TripIt Pro is a good one. And I mean, e-speakers is our central nervous system, and so we can't live without it 100%. Like we push everything through e-speakers. Everything. And what else are they using? Other than, I don't know. And of course, TripIt is a plugin for e-speakers. So, I have to give that some thought. I don't know what individually they're using. We integrate Google Calendars, which integrates with e-speakers. So that's good. We use freeconferencecall.com for each of our speakers. There's all there was one other one I was just thinking about. QuickBooks, I don't know.
Well, that's all right. Because I'm finding the technology, which used to be a department, there was a technology department in a company. Now it's all over. Everyone's using it. And we saw these things coming years ago, but it's like the world is now integrally intertwined, that for good or bad. I think if we use it in the right way, we can do it. Well, you mentioned e-speakers, and of course we're talking about that. What are some of the features of e-speakers that you found have been most helpful in the work that you've done and with others that you're working with?
What I've discovered on this side of the industry with the representation, we're actually not even selling speakers. We're selling dates on a calendar. And, because if, I could sell a certain speaker all day long, but if they're not available, then it's a moot point. So having a calendaring system is the easiest way to go. If I had a system that broke it down by speaker or even by client, like a CRM, that broke it down that way, it wouldn't make any sense. But what eSpeakers has done is allowed us to have our speakers' inventory of dates available to us and to the outside world, because they've got the it's a real-time calendar. And I'm trying to think of the real name because we call it something silly. We call it the Checkinator, but that's definitely not it.
I like that. That's a good name. Yeah, you might want to phrase that. Or we can get a good website at GoDaddy on that one.
Calendar Checkinator. Oh gosh, I can't remember what it's really called, but it's a real-time. They're going to be so mad at me for not remembering the name of this, but it's got this handsome guy and he's an operator, and you can click on it and there it is, and you can ask him for a specific date. And we send this out to bureaus and they're able to actually check the date in real time on the speaker's calendar and then place an inquiry on the calendar. And there's another change. We don't do holds. We do inquiries because, and a lot of people are moving away from holds too. Even hotels are moving away from placing holds. So you don't put them in single file, give 24 hours notice and all that. It's just, whoever comes to the table with the offer, obviously wins the date. So that's another change. But so we've got our speaker Checkinator, and that's been a really good tool. I have to admit that as much as I've promoted it to speakers bureaus, not a lot of people use it, and I don't know why. They prefer to just email, and say, is this date available? And so the human interaction is still winning the day, but I am determined that robots are going to take over my company in the next 5 years. So watch for that, because we're working on it right now. I just hired somebody, and he's going to take us to the 21st century and beyond.
Very good. But we keep hearing about the robots and how they're taking more and more jobs from us. And I'm thinking maybe we could have them as speakers someday. We don't know. But
yeah, sure.
That would be something. Well, so if we're looking at where we're going in the future, we see what's happening with e-speakers and with meeting planners. What do you see happening in the meetings industry? What are meeting planners looking for as we move forward into the latter part of this second decade and into the 2020s?
I even 6 6 months ago, I probably would have answered that with referencing TED Talks, because a lot of speakers, meeting professionals were asking for shorter times and the 20-minute length. And TED is a totally different animal. Meeting planners are looking at TED and TEDx, but I think more than a format, it's more like a good housekeeping stamp of approval on a speaker now. And it's great to have a TED Talk. But so the point of me kind of bringing that up is that I'm getting less and less or fewer and fewer requests for the 20-minute length. And I think meeting professionals are kind of realizing that it's just not sufficient. it's not enough time. And so I really don't know. It's kind of, things are a little bit volatile. And I have to listen, full admission that because I don't book outside of my roster, if I were a speakers bureau, I would have my finger on the pulse of what people are requesting. I don't get that. People are requesting my speakers because they're my speakers. So that's who I talk to. So when you're asking me questions like this, I funnel it all through the perspective of what people are asking me for. And they're asking me for opening and closing general session speakers. And they want 45 to 60 minutes in length. They want some entertainment, perhaps. They want the speaker, of course, to engage on the phone in a pre-event conference call, all the cliche stuff. So I'm really not seeing anything new, but it might be because I'm isolated. So I don't know if I'm going to be a huge help in that department.
Oh, yeah, but that's, I think, very helpful because there's always that element. Let me ask you this. What do you find was working best in marketing for the speakers that you have on your roster? What kind of things you go, wow, that's really helping in the marketing area, and this isn't working?
For me, it's all about the platform of credibility. So whether we're doing that with social media, whether we're doing that with little videos to whoever, out on the internet, maybe to speakers bureaus or just on social, on Facebook, testimonials are huge. It's the platform of credibility. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. And I mean this in the most honest, genuine, compassionate way possible, that meeting professionals live in fear. And it's fear because there are horror stories about speakers who claim to be professional but aren't. And so, get on site and whatever, just do something that is harmful to the meeting planner. That standing ovation that a speaker gets is not for the speaker, it's for the planner. That's what every speaker should be gunning for, is a standing ovation, so that the meeting planner can say, okay, that's a job well done. So whatever you can do in marketing to make sure that the meeting professional feels confident that they've made the right choice and they don't have to worry, then that's going to win. That's going to win the bookings. It's not the person who yells the loudest. In fact, of course, that's actually doesn't work anymore. But building a platform of credibility, I think, is the most important part.
Makes sense.
Krista, if I may jump in, Krista, to that end, do the credentials of the CSP and the CPAE give meeting planners some comfort?
Who am I going to get in trouble on this? Nobody, I guess. I use the words Hall of Fame speaker because CPAE is meaningless.
Right.
I will use that. But again, I've actually recently described the whole marketing and selling process as like a weigh scale, right? Like there's a balance. So if you can put TEDx on here and you can put Hall of Fame speaker on here, CSP, I've never known that to be a good selling feature. But I still think it's very important. And I've encouraged my speakers to do it because it's important. You want your certification from the professional industry that puts food on your table and sends your kids to college. You want that certification and you want to have it. I think it's important, but I don't think it's a selling feature for meeting planners. But anything that you can put on this weight scale, like if you can do MDRT, if you can do, like I said, the TEDx talks, if you can write articles, if you can be on CNN, that all like brings it up so that, oh, wow, like it just makes you more credible.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, Krista, you've given us a lot of good information. We really appreciate this. And if someone says, hey, I want to get in touch with that wonderful improviser from Alberta and find out about more of what you do and what you do there at C Agency, how do they get in touch with you?
Just through our website, www.cagency.com.
And
then
how
I'm
do
on
you
there.
spell C again? We want to make sure those that are hearing this in audio, how do they spell C?
It's like what you do with your eyeballs, SEE.
Very good. I like it. Very good. Well, we appreciate you being with us, and thank you for all those of you that are joining us. Gina, I'm going to turn it back over to you so you can sign off in style.
Well, thank you again for joining us. I certainly learned a lot from Krista, and I really appreciate Terry with your hosting, and it's been a wonderful experience.